Hey class, this is Jamie Castillo, and this is my video response for week 5, going over the different social class and social stratification concepts. Apologizing for my very wet hair, I just got out of the pool with my swimmers. But going into the topic, pretty much just explain the different key terms. So social class is where you fall on the economic scale, so you can be upper class, lower class, middle class. So there's a wide variance, and it really depends on what you consider upper and lower, and then where you live. 'Cause every nation, every country is going to have, or every city is going to have something different. Social stratification is the difference between the upper class and the lower class. So looking at the inequalities, the different opportunities that are missed if you're in the lower class division versus the opportunities you're given in the upper class. And then the last one is class relations. So these are kind of seeing how all the classes kind of tie together, looking how they play a part in the economy in that certain community, how it's all organized. The best way for me to understand this is I work in Fullerton, California, and just the other day, I work in an area off of Harbor at the YMCA, and this YMCA is gorgeous. You go down the street and there's mansion houses. I looked on Zillow one time just to see if I can live out here so I can be closer to work, and these houses were like $1 million. But you go down the street to Euclid, which is literally the next block over, and it's run down houses, it's broken down cars, there's trash in the street. Everything went from being so green and bright and beautiful to very, very brown, is the best way I can put it. So kind of seeing how the organization goes, and it's in the same city, it's in the same parameters. You're just walking 2 blocks over, 1 block over. So that's my explanation for that. And then it says, additionally define class ideology and describe, in your own words, the primary beliefs that they share in the text. So class ideology is pretty much your interpretation of how economics and society kind of play together. The 2 different belief system was meritology, I believe is how they put it, and then the American dream. Which is funny because we were just speaking about this at home the other day because the big election, well, the primary elections were yesterday. And kind of going over what we believed in, and not to get into politics, it does play a huge role, I think, in this conversation, so it's kind of ironic that it all played together. So for kind of, I guess, like the question's asking for us to, how does it play in our perception of what our class ideology is? I'm definitely one who believes in the American dream. I know that my grandfathers both served in the military, and being that they were both Hispanic, they didn't feel like they had opportunities. And the most ironic thing is that they refused to teach their children how to speak Spanish because their children came out very light-colored skin. So both my mother and my father, who are majority Hispanic, my father being full Hispanic, both came out very light skinned, but we're Spanish. We're also Spanish, we're not just Mexican. And so for my dad's side especially, there's that blonde hair, blue-eyed Spanish trait. So the kids didn't learn Spanish thinking that it was going to prevent them from getting jobs, and preventing them from having opportunities because that was something that they weren't given. And then here we have in society today where if you know 2 languages, you're above like the understanding level. Like, that's so good. That's amazing. Whether it's French, Spanish, ASL, German, Greek, anything, it's great. And then if you know 3, it's even better. It's almost like getting a degree. If you know 2, it's amazing. If you have 2 degrees, it's amazing. If you get your doctors, it's even better. If you have several, you're just on top of the world. So I think it's just ironic that that's how it kind of played down. But they had the American dream. They knew that they had the whole world against them. they knew that there was a lot going on that they couldn't explain to their kids, but they were going to try anyways. They got houses, they paid them off, they worked really, really hard, even though everyone was telling them they couldn't. And even my grandmother is white. Like, she's German and she's Czechoslovakian, but like she's third generation American. So it wasn't like she had any type of race inequities going against her, because that's not the case. But she had the social class. She grew up in what they called the barrios of LA. She went to Garfield High. I believe it was Garfield High. But those were the areas where you fit 6 kids into a 2-bedroom apartment. Most of them lived in the sat in the living room. You had barely anything to eat, and you ate the same thing every day. She would always tell us that for her birthdays and Christmas presents, she got a new pair of shoes, she got a dress, and she had a doll. But on her birthday, and for Christmas, you were lucky if Santa Claus even showed up. So it was just different. It's just different from what we have today. So I do believe in the American dream. My grandparents came a long way to give me everything that I could get. My parents did the same thing. They couldn't afford to go to college. My grandparents couldn't afford to send them off there either, so they worked really, really hard. And then you have in society today where a lot of kids that can't afford college, they can get loans, or they can work really hard and they can somehow pay it off. And that's my storyline. I didn't have parents to help me, but I had the government's help to help me, which is exciting and perfect. Moving on to after you participate in the activity, to look up the global calculator. So definitely when I did the income, it showed me at like the top 0.24%. And then if I did the wealth, it showed me at the top 25%. So definitely different numbers, but I was still much further than most of the world. So that's something to like really consider. Is you go through and you're like, I'm a poor college student, I can't afford anything. But there are so many more people out there that don't have a lot. And I think that's why I love working at the YMCA, because it's something where I can give back. I work with a couple other groups, and it's super exciting to see like maybe I have money and I can give money, but I can also do works and I can do a lot of different things. So it kind of opened my eyes. But that's my discussion. I look forward to hearing everybody else's discussion. Hope you have a great day. Bye.